people, how you feeling?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Papa Jug Podcast. It's Friday night as we record this, which means Starfield has been out now for a little over 24 hours and the world has gone nuts, but not quite the way you might think. I hope you're having yourselves a good night. If you are checking this out on the audio files, I hope you're having a wonderful start to your week because you are getting this no earlier than Monday morning at 4 o'clock a.m. Pacific time. So it is nice to have you all here. Welcome to everybody who's joining us in live chat. It is good to see you. Thank you very much. Couple of reminders up front. If you have not yet joined the PJParty Discord, please go ahead and do that. There are links in the show description. Go check those out in the notes. That is the hub of the PJParty community. And then also, if you haven't put a subscription down on YouTube, go drop your sub, please. Would love to have you join us there. Currently on the road to 500 subs and would love your support in getting there. So thank you very much for those who already have. I so appreciate it. And speaking of appreciation, we have to give thanks to our two diamond sponsors currently in the PJParty Discord. That is Captain Havoc and Zombie Sandwich. Thank you very much. Or actually in the Discord, it's Zombie XP. But thank you both for your support. Diamond subs all get mentions at the start of every single stream, whether it be the podcast or the gaming streams themselves. They get a special thanks of appreciation because they are heavily investing in supporting this community, and we so appreciate that as we continue to grow. So Captain Havoc and Zombie, thank you very much for your help, for your support. Look forward to all of your other diamond level support, or your diamond level rewards that are coming to you soon. That's going to be cool stuff, including a 20% discount on all merch. Isn't that great? I thought so. Tonight we've got a cool show. We do have 4 topics. All of them are pretty significant in terms of what they mean for certain things. But one of the more interesting thing is that none of them are about the same thing. There's no overlap. I always try to put together a show that has structure for you folks. It's got a stream of consciousness. It's got some things that tie it together, like a theme. Not this one. This one, I was just like, okay, we got to talk about that. 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 None of those are connected. So I was just sort of, it's going to be 4 very, very different topics. And we can jump right into one of them. The first one we are talking about, of course, is we're going to be talking about Linus Tech Tips. There has been an update with all the controversy surrounding Linus Tech Tips, the channel, the people involved behind the scenes at the channel. This has been a weird story. As somebody who works in media, as somebody who works in production, as somebody who works in marketing, at first I didn't care about this story. I'll be honest with you. When I saw the stuff with Linus Tech Tips, I was like, oh, okay, why does anybody care about this? Well, people care because they like Linus Tech Tips. So the two things kind of go hand in hand. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Volition Games. We're going to talk about the PlayStation Portal. There's a news update there. And then our big chat of the night is going to be Starfield. What is going on with Starfield? As we said at the beginning of the episode, it has now been live for all the early access buyers. You had to have the premium edition, or I think it was the Constellation. I think they called it the Constellation edition. You had to have those in order to get access 5 days early. Everybody else is getting September 6th. It's midnight September 6th GMT, and then do your math for your time zones in the different directions. As most of you have known, I've been really excited about Starfield. You've probably seen that our logo right here on the YouTube channel, the logo has changed to a Starfield background. The logo on Twitch, the logo on X, the logo on Instagram, the logo in my Discord. Like everything has become a Starfield thing because it's a really exciting opportunity for all of us to try a new space IP. It's a space-oriented game, and that's really, really cool because we don't get a ton of those outside of things like Star Trek and Star Wars. So this has been really exciting, and I'm hyped for it. If you had a chance to check out my very first stream last night with Starfield, I had a hell of a lot of fun. I think it's a cool game. I'm going to show you some footage for that later on tonight. So that was a good thing. But yeah, there's going to be more of that coming. Starfield will become a part of the long-term content here for the channel. You're going to see me go through all these single-player adventures, all the missions, the side quests, all that kind of stuff. We're really going to explore Starfield, especially as Bethesda creates patches for this. There's going to be some DLC. There's going to be patches. Things are going to change, and we want to explore that together. So I hope you tune in. That will be streamed live on Twitch. You can always make sure that you subscribe to that. Again, just like everything else I've talked about so far, the link is in the description. Again, hello to everybody. Greets. Hello. Yes, look, DJ Psychosis. I don't normally give mentions to everybody in chat because this is a multi-format, multi-platform show. But DJ Psychosis says, Greets finally made a live show. That's a cool thing because he's not in this continent. DJ Psychosis is all the way down under. He's far, far away. So we love having our global audience, and it's nice to see Psychosis, who doesn't often get to see us here. So happy weekend to you, Psychosis, and to everybody else in Australia, Japan, China. I don't know if the Chinese block this show because I'm on it. Maybe they do. New Zealand, Papua New Guinea. Happy Saturday weekends to everybody. It's good to have you all here. So let's just dump right into this. We are going to get into Linus Tech Tips. Like I said, this has been something that I haven't cared a whole ton about until recently because I started doing more research and reading into what was going on. And it sounds like with Linus Tech Tips, which is the channel, if you're not familiar with it, it is kind of exactly what it says. It is Linus Tech Tips. Hardware reviews, software reviews, like they talk about all the things involved in the physical side of the business. And they've been doing it for a long, long time. Linus has built a huge reputation for himself. He created Linus, I think it was Linus Media Group, is what he called his company, because they do a lot now. I mean, the show it's a huge thing. It's huge following on YouTube. And a lot of people respect the information that was put out. Okay. I think that's the best way to put it is the reviews that they gave, the recommendations that they gave. People took that to heart because they viewed it as being highly credible. Very, very believable stuff based on the expert opinions of the people giving them. That changed recently. A lot of things went south at Linus Tech Tips, at Linus Media Group, very, very quickly. It all started with a review that was supposed to happen. And the details of this don't genuinely matter. It doesn't matter who it was. It doesn't matter what it was. The problem was that there was supposed to be a review. The review didn't go the way it was supposed to. The information was inaccurate, just flat out wrong. When that was supposed to be corrected, it wasn't. And then it turns out that Linus was under contractual obligation, and I haven't heard any refutation of this. Linus was under a contractual obligation to return the piece of hardware that he was reviewing. And again, the company doesn't matter. He was supposed to return that to them. It's kind of like a, what you call it, like a press car. So companies like Chevrolet or Lamborghini or whatever, they have cars that they will loan out to media reps so that they can do reviews and test drives and all of that. Well, big surprise, you have to give those back. This was the same situation. He had to give it back. He didn't. He used it as a giveaway item. Poof, off it goes. It's like, what? You can't just give that away. He did. So there was that. And then he copped an attitude about it. And he was like, no, I'm lying. It's blah, blah, blah. So that happened. Then it got much, much worse. Then there was a sexual harassment allegation from a former employee of the company. Then there was allegations of, what's the best way to put this? There were allegations of unprofessional conduct when it came to the content of the show. Was it all accurate? Was it all done correctly? Was it all professional in terms of both its presentation, but also its conduct with the thing being reviewed? So all of these things were apparently behind the scenes at Linus Tech Tips was ugly. It was a bad place to work. Management was a mess. Anyway, lots of problems. So the board stepped in. The board of directors of the company stepped in and they said, okay, here's what's going to happen. We are going to cease production for a week. I'm sorry, 10 days. I think it was 10 days. We're going to cease production. We are going to stop everything and we're going to investigate everything, look at new processes, new procedures, new policies. We're going to do whatever we can to identify the problems and fix the problems. During that time, we will create nothing. Cool. That's the way it actually should be handled. If you can't get everything done that, you like your public facing stuff, if what you're creating can't get done at the same time that you're trying to fix the problem, focus on the problem. Otherwise the problem's going to get worse. Okay. So there's that. That time has elapsed. It's gone. Nobody really heard from Linus. It was kind of a haphazard, but still out there, statement saying this is what we're going to be doing and this is why. Cool. Then Linus puts out a video on YouTube, and I want to say this was maybe last Monday, maybe last Sunday. It was a few days ago. And I thought there was an interesting write-up of it on The Verge. Linus Sebastian addresses error handling and ethics in a new video. The video he puts out probably shouldn't have gone out. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. The problem with the video is that a lot of people didn't see him as authentic. It sounded very scripted. There were parts of it that were clearly written by a legal department, which isn't, look, for all that, where people are like, I just want you to tell me what's happening. I'm sorry. Sometimes legally you can't. Legally, you have to take precautions. You have to say certain things in certain ways and that could be for any number of reasons. A, you don't want to incriminate yourself. B, you have to maintain privacy, perhaps based on a court order. I don't know. Things like that have to be adhered to. So there's a whole bunch of reasons, but the video came off as semi-inauthentic. Some people were like, this doesn't really say what I wanted it to say. The other issue is that it didn't address some of the issues. It just flat out avoided them or really sugarcoated them, and nobody was getting the information that they wanted. So that was a whole thing. So anyways, let's go through this. So 10-day pause, blah, blah, blah. There we go. Sebastian did not directly address the sexual harassment allegations levied by a former employee. I'm going to skip the person's name. They did, however, so Linus does address HR structure changes, talked about the fact that they hired an outside consultant to review the policies 6 years ago. 6 years, so 5 years. It's 5 years ago, actually. It was 2018. 5 years ago. Then they brought in later an independent firm to handle their HR issues. Then they brought in an in-house HR department. They're like, okay, we're not doing the outside consultants anymore. We're bringing this all in-house. We're going to have an actual HR department. Apparently, the HR department hasn't done its job. So going through that history, I'm not sure I would have done that because clearly the HR department you built either A, didn't give you good policies, B, gave you good policies and you completely ignored them, or C, maybe they're just not doing a job at all. Maybe it's just like the whole thing is just like, yeah, we have a job, but they don't actually do a job. And okay, whatever. It's chaos. So in a statement at the beginning of its production pause, he said, our HR team will be conducting a more thorough assessment of the allegations, and when we're ready, we will release a more complete statement. I want to address that specifically because there's a bunch of factors involved. Linus Tech Tips is a media company. They are a corporation in the United States. Okay. But it's also a very public-facing company. It's literally a media company. They are all about putting out products to the public. Not just manufacturing them, but creating a persona, creating a brand for that. This is one of the things that messes me up. We will release a more complete statement. Why? That's the question from Papa Jug to the Linus Media Group. Why? You do not, and I say this as a consumer, I say this as a viewer, you don't owe them anything. You don't owe us, as an audience, you don't owe us anything about a private HR matter involving sexual harassment with an employee. Now, if the employee chooses to go public, fine, let them talk. And if they say things that are materially untrue, I would recommend addressing those. But you don't owe the public an explanation of a sexual harassment claim. It's a private matter. Not only is it private for the company, because that's something you really don't want to be discussing with customers. Like, you're not putting a sign up at the check stand that says, thanks for buying our peaches today for 49 cents a pound. Oh, by the way, 3 people have sued us for sexual harassment. Like, that's not the thing. You don't do that with other companies, but these companies, they're like, well, the public's asking for it. Who fucking cares? Shut up. Just keep your mouth shut about it. It doesn't help you at all. There's no upside to this. But more importantly, It's not something that you need to address in terms of the employee themselves. The employee has to go through a very terrible thing. Whatever happened, whether the claim is true or false, that employee is now the subject of a media inquiry. The public is going to start digging into them, whether they like Linus Media Group, they hate Linus Media Group, really doesn't matter. The public is now going to focus on the accuser. That sucks. I don't know if anybody's ever been on the internet, but people aren't polite. So when they say things like, we will release a more complete statement after we've done a thorough assessment of the allegations, please don't. Just shut up about it. Handle the things you got to handle, do the stuff you got to do, get things legally, straightened and whatever you got to figure out there. But you don't owe the public an explanation of a sexual harassment claim. You just don't. Even if it's against Linus, even if it's against the guy at the top, you can simply say, we've looked into this and here's what's going to be done moving forward, but don't address the allegation itself. It's not a place you have to go. And the public will be okay with that. They will move on. Trust me. It's not damning evidence that, that'll end your career. I mean, unless you're Linus, then it might, but anyways. So, that kind of thing just drives me crazy because as a corporate executive, as somebody who has owned companies for the last 20 plus years, as somebody who has been in marketing and PR for the last 20 plus years, I promise you this is not something you need to address in the public world. You will survive. Okay. So anyways, he puts out this video and he calls it, "Here's the Plan." That was the first step towards not looking authentic. Here's the plan. That doesn't sound professional. That doesn't sound credible. That sounds like a guy who's drawing on the back of a napkin and having a chat with his friends at a bar. All right, guys, so here's the plan. I'm going to go pick up Debbie and we're going to go run over and we're going to, dude, shut up. Just here's the plan. No, make that stop. Sebastian said that Linus Tech Tips now has, quote, a clear rubric. So he was addressing, by the way, the fact that some of their information has been false. They have not given proper information regarding products. They have not given professional recommendations, etc. Everybody's like, why are we getting crap from you when you're supposed to be a credible source? Sebastian says, Linus Tech Tips now has, quote, a clear rubric, end quote, which he posted on the Linus Tech Tips forums. So it's visible. He went public and said, this is our rubric and you can hold us accountable because we're going to show it to you. Quote, that defines error severity and prescribes the appropriate fix, end quote, which could range from pinned comments to full reshoots or even cancellation of a project if necessary. In other words, if they are either about to finish a product or maybe it's already out, if that video is out or if that blog is out and they find that something is materially wrong, depending on the severity of the problem, they will either perhaps pin a post to it, or they will republish it, or they will completely cancel the project and say, this is not something we're going to release or allow to remain public. I think that's cool. I think that's the way it should be. I am kind of curious how a review company of this size with this much experience and this much history and this much professional background to its executives, how did they not have that? Like, how was that not a thing before? That's kind of weird. This is like standard 101 stuff. Like, what do we do if something's wrong? I mean, unless the ego was just so gigantic, like we don't do things that are wrong, or we don't care about things that are wrong. Both of them are bad. But either way, I think this is applaudable. I think that they've got this rubric, they've released it to the public, and they're saying, look, if there's an issue, depending on the size and the severity and the degree of seriousness, we are going to address it in one of the following ways. Good for them. Okay? He said they will use a newly formed error checking community group, which consists of fewer than 10 extremely knowledgeable Linus Tech Tips community members to verify the accuracy of the company's videos. I also think this is really smart. And this is not a 101 thing. This is something that's more experience. It's more higher level. You bring in other experts who are basically silent testers. They're silent quality assurance. And you say, look, we're going to rely on you as in the background. We're going to rely on you to tell us if we're wrong. If all the public-facing experts, all of us, if Linus and all the other Linuses of the channel, if the Linus of the world is wrong, you're going to tell us that before it happens. You're going to look at something and say, hey, whoa, that's not correct. Or that could be interpreted different ways. Maybe it's vague. Maybe it's kind of a gray area. I think that's cool. They're doing a good thing. So I applaud them for that one. Other changes are intended to improve business transparency, including publicly publishing the media group's sponsorship guidelines and improving item tracking for products that they have been sent for testing. That goes back to the, what did you do with the test item? That's right, you gave it away. Don't do that. So they're going to be working on those things, and they're releasing to the public what the sponsorship guidelines are. So if you are going to be a sponsor, you have to abide by this, and we have to abide by this. Good stuff. Blah, blah, blah. There we go. Later in the video, Sebastian talked about the company's benefits, highlighting the team outings, the holiday parties, the internal giveaways. He discussed the company's HR policies and department structure, saying that the company will double its mental health counseling contribution later this year in response to recent online harassment experienced by LMG employees. Yeah, people got mad. Like I said, if you've ever been on the internet, people are not polite. So cool, good things. I'm glad to hear that they're doing this. You know, employee care is vital to a company, and I think that that's smart for them to do this. So this is where Linus Tech Tips is going now. If you've ever been a fan, I would love to hear your comments about what do you think about the controversy? What is it you like or dislike about Linus Tech Tips? Your feedback is always a big deal to me. I love reading it and I appreciate it, whether it's in the public comments or via DM. I'm loving the DMs that are coming in now. You're like, hey, here's an idea. Also, not only do you send me ideas for the show, but you also give me feedback on the topics based on what you like and dislike on a particular issue that we discuss. So like I said, I love getting your feedback. Thank you very much for doing that. The DMs are always open. My DMs on every single platform that I'm on are open. So if you ever want to share, feel free to do so. You can send that to me via DM, and I can discuss it on the show. If you would like me to keep your name anonymous, I can absolutely do that. Just let me know. Otherwise, I may mention you. So if you're a content creator, hey, free advertising. No, kidding. So let's go on. We're going to move on to the next topic, which is a much more unfortunate one because this one does affect people in a very large and public way, kind of like Linus, but again, no real theme to this. It's just sort of a coincidence, and that is the closure of Volition Games. Volition Games has been around for 30 years. There are some studios and some platforms that can say that. There are not a lot. Volition Games was owned by a European company, and they are. Unfortunately, that company has had massive financial problems. Embracer is the parent company. Embracer was supposed to be merging with a huge Saudi company. Remember a few episodes we talked about how the Saudis are investing in gaming? Well, remember I warned everybody? Okay, well. So, yeah, they were supposed to do a $2 billion deal. The Saudis were, they created this thing called Savvy Studios, I think it was. Anyway, Savvy was supposed to do a $2 billion deal to buy Embracer. And Embracer owned Volition along with many, many other studios. So, Embracer, the deal fell apart last May. Well, this May. Sorry, May of 2023. The deal fell apart in May of 2023. This was a huge hit to Embracer. It was not a good day. It was basically their lifeline. So this buyout was supposed to be sort of the saving grace of Embracer, because up until then, Embracer had gone on a spending spree for years. They were buying up smaller studios, buying up smaller IP, and they were like, yeah, we want that, we want that, we want that, we want that. We're going to build ourselves into a powerhouse. Unfortunately, the final piece of that puzzle never came together. They bought all the studios, and then when they were supposed to get their big buyout, it failed. They no longer had the money to maintain all of the studios they bought. They were massively in debt. So Embracer announces fairly shortly after the deal falls apart with the Saudis, they announced that they have to go on a cost-cutting spree, and they've got to find ways to make, what did the CEO say? I think it was leaner, stronger, which is corporate speak for we're firing everybody and we're going to focus on little tiny things. So the CEO says that. Volition was the very first big sacrifice. Volition was closed immediately on Thursday. It was, in fact, the way that the news actually broke was not from Embracer or Volition. It was that a whole bunch of employees went online and said, I just found out I lost my job and the studio's closed. Closed, not closing, closed. Like, literally, you're all fired because we're not opening the door today. That's how bad it was. Volition Games had come out with titles you may be familiar with. Saints Row is probably their most recent big one. Descent. They had, some mid-level titles, but recently their stuff wasn't that great. It wasn't hugely popular. People kind of gave it mixed reviews. So yeah, Volition was not on its high point. And I think when Embracer was looking at cost cutting, they're like, why don't we get rid of the people that aren't producing the money-making stuff? Now, that doesn't mean other people aren't going to get cut. It just means Volition was the first one out the door. So that's where that ended up. But yeah, so there was an interesting article though on Game Informer. Let's see. It was because of the update. So originally Volition posted this kind of nice postcard thing that said, Volition team has proudly created world-class entertainment for fans around the globe for 30 years. We've been driven by a passion for our community and always worked to deliver joy, surprise, and delight. Past June, our company fell apart, blah, blah, blah. As part of that program, they evaluated strategic and operational goals and made the difficult decision to close Volition effective immediately. To help our team, we are working to provide job assistance and smooth the transition for our Volition family members. We thank our customers and fans around the world for all the love and support over the years. You will always be in our hearts. I give credit to Volition Games and probably Embracer who wrote this because I thought this was a really nice statement that they put out. It was polite. It was as positive as it could be, but still had that sense of sadness because they were all out of a job. Then it comes out that the next day they published a follow-up. The follow-up was like 3 times as long. And it was this whole like transition through the history and how much they love gaming and what's been happening. And it was this whole thing. So it was kind of sad to see that, but I think they wanted to address a lot of the feedback and kind of the emotional outcry that came when everybody's like, Volition's closing, but I love Saints Row, or I love, Descent or whatever. So it was a very nice statement, but that's why it came out. And it just kind of goes into this whole thing about the history of the company, and it's very nice. So I would recommend, if you're interested in that, definitely take a look at it. You can find it online. Just do any search for Volition Games and you'll find the new statements. So we always, like I said, we've always been sad to see when gaming studios close. We don't like to see people lose their jobs, especially in an industry that is all about bringing fun and joy to people, like they talked about. And that's something that for all of us, we rely on these people to deliver this amazing content that we are so enjoying of. And unfortunately, Volition won't be doing that anymore. So we wish everybody at Volition the best. Hopefully Embracer is able to provide those job assistance programs and they can find a really nice job in a new location that will be around for a long, long time. Sad to see it. Up next, we are going to talk about the news that just came out. I had to add this tonight because this was a brand new piece of news. The PlayStation Portal has a release date. Any PlayStation fans out there? I know there are. We're about to talk about a game that isn't on PlayStation, though. The PlayStation Portal is launching November 15th. Here's what I want. If you are in chat, if you are going to post a comment in the comments below the show later, if you're watching the YouTube VOD or listening to the audio, here's what I want you to explain to me. The PlayStation Portal, it's a Stream Deck, it's a Switch, it's a whatever. Compare it to whatever you want. Why? That's my question. Just why? Like, if it's a native thing, okay, I'm old enough to know what the Game Boy was. If it's a native game on the platform, it makes sense. What I don't understand are people that play games that are intended for giant monitors or, TV screens like on a console, but you're playing it on the little handheld device. I don't get it. Now, maybe that's me being old. Okay, I can adjust to that. I get it. Why? These are big, beautiful titles. So, see, I was hoping there'd be it's so you can play it on the go. Okay. Do we have to? Like, can we be apart from gaming? Can we separate ourselves from our consoles a little bit? If we're not in front of it, can't we just be like, look, I don't need to play it right now. I will do other things. I have this conversation with my son all the time. I get it. I'm old. I have this conversation with my son because he has a Switch. And I was like, why? He's like, because I want to play, I can play games when I'm not in front of my computer or in front of the TV. And I'm like, okay, but there's a whole world for you to look at. You can do it. He's like, no, Dad, it's not the same. Okay. I just don't get it. Okay, here we go. Because now this is an interesting one. That's what I'm saying. Because we like Steam Decks. Sorry, it's not Stream Decks. Steam Decks. So I'm a streamer. I have Stream Deck. It's sitting right next to me. Because we have Steam Decks. I get that. Because Nintendo did it. So why not PlayStation? I get that. I understand it, except for the part of not understanding it. This is where I tell, kids to get off my lawn. It just seems to me that like you lose so much. I love, and you guys, I've talked about this 1,000 times on the podcast, on the live streams, in my Discord, on social, personal calls, everything. I love the games with big, beautiful visuals. I tell my son all the time, I don't understand Roblox. My generation built things so that we didn't have to deal with square pixels, so that we could have fluid motion, so that we could have 3D graphics, so that we weren't stuck on 8-bit. And now the trend is to go backwards. We're going to put things in squares. We're going to have terrible animation. We're going to do these things that look like crap. And I'm like, no, that's not what we wanted. Okay. So anyways, I understand the portability of it. What I don't understand is, why do we need the portability? And 2, why are we sacrificing quality? But I'm old. I'm okay. It's not a thing I'm ever going to buy. Let's just put it that way. It's a huge thing here in the US, but I heard that mobile gaming is really, really popular in Korea and Japan. Yes, 100% it is. It is huge in Asia. China as well. Mobile gaming is gigantic. If you guys have ever done, and when I say mobile gaming, I mean portable gaming as well. It's not just cell phone games, but mobile gaming in a portable gaming sense is huge in Asia. If you guys have ever played like cell phone mobile games, like the funny thing is the communities will segment themselves out. You will have your North American groups, your European groups, your Australian groups, your South American, but then like there's a whole other world for the Asian servers. Oh my God, the amount of money that gets spent on these games is eye-watering. I've played mobile games in the past. For about a year, I actually had a thing where I was starting, I would start characters or builds or whatever, the game was doing. I would build those on servers and then sell the accounts. And it was, it's fairly easy. Like, I would do something, I'd build something up for a day and I would sell the account for $100 because the games are free to start. You don't have to pay anything. So you just do all the free to play stuff. You get that as far as you min-max it as much as you possibly can. And then be like, cool, I'm going to sell that for $100. I'm going to sell that for $300. I'm going to sell that for $500. You can sell your accounts and nobody really gives a shit. But anyways, except for the studios. So console quality is already mesh. That's why I don't have consoles. So anyway, mobile gaming is a huge thing, but you would have like these guys step in and you'd get, basically Chinese whales. And these guys would come in spending, and I'm not joking here, thousands of dollars a day on these accounts. Be like, oh, cool, I'm going to get this whole new pack of shit. I don't know, whatever, the pack of battle hammers or whatever. That's $900. Be like, cool, I'm getting that today. What are you going to do tomorrow? Oh, tomorrow I'm going to get the castle. Okay, how much is the castle? It's another $400. I'm like, what the fuck? Dude, it's a game. Like, it's your money. I don't give a shit. Do whatever you want with your money. I don't care. But yeah, like mobile gaming is gigantic in Asia. And it's A, they have the populations to do it. B, they've got the money to do it. Big thing. So yes, mobile gaming is a thing. I can't disagree with any of that. I'm pretty sure this is PlayStation's attempt to reinvent the PlayStation. Yeah, well, you're not wrong. The PSP was an interesting idea. It never went anywhere, but there's that. So what you're saying is I need to start the hustle. You very well could. I had fun doing it. It was cool. Like, you know, you're playing on a weekend or whatever, and that's typically what I would do. Like, I would start on a Friday night, and then by Saturday or Sunday, I could sell the account. Like, cool, I min-maxed it. I played the shit out of it. I'm good to go. Sell that. I spent, you know, let's say 10 to 20 hours, and I could sell an account for $500. All right, not bad. $500 in a weekend in addition to my other job. No, great. You know, it's just spending money. It was cool. It's not a huge thing here in the US, but I heard, sorry, I'm reading chat, everybody. I heard that mobile, yeah, I read that already. Our generation also played and used stuff that was retro to us. I mean, we built a lot of it. My generation, I don't know about your generation, but my generation, we built the gaming stuff. Like, I played the original Atari. I played Pong. Like, playing retro to us would be hopscotch. I mean, there was no retro gaming for me, because for me there was no game. Like, I've seen all the games get built, all of them. Other than, God, what was that? There was a console. It's technically, oh man, there was a console from like 1973. It wasn't the Atari. What the hell was it? Hold on. Where's my camera? There it is. Oh, that's right. The Magnavox. Yeah, the Magnavox Odyssey. I've got a picture to share with you guys later. ColecoVision. No. You're 39, not too far from you. I can't reveal, but last night was actually the deepest I've ever gone in revealing my age on stream. I gave you, I was alive in 1983. That's the biggest hint I've ever given to my age. So yes, I am older than 39. Anyways, so whatever. I get that it's cool and I get the portability of it. And yeah, like I said, I grew up with Game Boys. I've played Switches. I've played all these, you know, handhelds. But the fact that you can like a Steam Deck kind of thing. Anyways, whatever. I don't need to lecture about being old. But again, it is coming out, and I'm going to get back on topic now because I'm just rambling. The PlayStation Portal is launching on November 15th. I am reading an article from BGR.com. But I won't be buying it. That's the headline of the article. Last week, Sony officially announced the name of its new gaming handheld, the PlayStation Portal, is the company's answer to existing gaming handhelds like the Asus ROG Ally, the Steam Deck, the Logitech G Cloud, and the Backbone One. Out of all of those, the device is most like the G Cloud since it simply streams games from your PS5 instead of being able to play locally. Okay, pay attention. When I ask why, this is why. Now we know exactly when the PlayStation Portal will launch. Sony has revealed that the Remote Play device will be available for purchase on November 15th, right in time for the holidays, of course. Those who are interested can pre-order the handheld now, but pre-orders are currently only available directly from PlayStation rather than the usual suspects like GameStop, Best Buy, Walmart, and Target. It will cost $199 US. Sorry for the foreign exchange rate. Sony has already explained, features an 8-inch 1080p screen that is capable of up to 60 frames per second of gameplay. Now for that, I don't think it's terrible. I don't think that's a huge loss of quality. 1080p, 60 frames, not bad. That's actually not a huge regression. I'll shut up about that one. It is meant to stream games directly from your PS5 over Wi-Fi, so have fun playing your games in bed if your console's in your living room. So in other words, you're not getting it in your car. This is not that portable. It's not traveling with you. It's in a different part of the house. Just let's keep in mind the limitations here. While the promise of a remote play handled by PlayStation that uses the ergonomics and features of the DualSense controller sounds great, which it does, things quickly break down for this product, making sense when you talk about audio. The PlayStation Portal, astonishingly, does not support Bluetooth. I wouldn't buy it either. All of your wireless headphones are useless on this thing. Doesn't work. So, what kind of headphones work? The PlayStation's new Elite over-the-ear headphones and Explore earbuds, which cost another $149 or $199. You got to buy them. So it's not a $200 console. If you want to hear the fucking thing, it's at least $350. And you can't take it out of your house. What are we talking about? Okay. If you want to get a set of used wireless headphones with the Portal, your starting costs jump from $199 to $349 or $399. I just said that. That's truly an insane proposition. According to Sony, the point of this move is the name of audio latency. The company is launching a new technology called PlayStation Link that improves audio latency compared to Bluetooth. Every other handheld like the Switch, Steam Deck, and others support Bluetooth, and it's generally fine. While something like PlayStation Link is great, and Sony should definitely give customers an option to buy their headphones for an even better audio experience, forcing them to do so is a horrible idea. Yeah, the Magnavox Odyssey. Sorry, guys, I'm back in chat. So anyways, I think that the idea is cool. I think the concept is it makes no sense to me. Just call me grandpa and let's all move on. But yeah, it's a thing. On that small, interesting. Oh, so see now that, okay. So that's what I'm talking about. Like with the quality on that small of a screen, the pixel density will look amazing. Could be true. It's PlayStation. So, being Sony, you're probably right. So they're pulling an Apple. Yes, they are forcing you into their environment. They're saying we have better tech and we're forcing you to have it. The problem is we don't know if it's actually better tech. With Apple, we know it's not better tech. But with Sony, this is a brand new thing. Maybe it will be, but still, again, like the article says, forcing people into it sucks. The fun thing is that they make converters for cars with navigation screens, Apple CarPlay that allow you to play on car screens. So technically, you could actually play on the go. Does that apply to the PlayStation Portal? I know you can do that with other devices, with the other, handhelds. I know that you can do that. I know you can move your content from one screen to another. You can play remotely, But what you're talking about, is that for the Portal? Because I haven't seen anything about that. As far as I know, just like we talked about with the audio, you're locked in. This is your device. This is what you have to use, and you have to pay for the peripherals. So I'm really curious if you've heard about that. I would love to know that. Because that would change the value of the product. That would change the value proposition that we're talking about. So I'm very curious. Yeah, if you can stream this elsewhere or share it elsewhere, I think there's going to be a connection issue because you're now streaming. We know you can't do it in your car. You have to have the Wi-Fi connection to the device. So I don't know what's going on, but we'll see where this goes. I think that's all we can say. Jug's old. He doesn't get this. He's not going to get this. And you guys are all cooler. Okay. What did Jinxie say earlier today? Hello, fellow kids. I was giving Jinxie shit about looking old in his Starfield character. Wow. What are we talking about? Starfield. Okay. So here's the thing. This is our topic. This is our big chat of the week. Starfield is now live for all of the early access. Okay. So what has the world thought? I've played it. Okay. I have played it. I streamed it the moment it went live. Well, first we unpacked it from Steam. That was a fun adventure. We played it the moment it went live after enduring the absolutely ridiculous. And Bethesda, please, I get that you were trying to create some fun around this, but your early access Discord party, that was lame. Don't do that again. Because that did not work. That was not a party. That was people in chat. Like that was literally just chatting in Discord. There was nothing interesting about it other than you did the space trivia thing and you gave away the CPU, GPU thing that was branded with your logo. That was not a party. Like there should have been people from Bethesda on screen. There should have been live chat hosted. Whatever. Okay. So Starfield is live. I played it. I had moderate expectations. We all saw the reviews. Not the reviews. We saw the comments and the Q&As and all of that came from Bethesda ahead of time. We had our expectations. People saw leaks. There was all of this stuff that came out in the hours, days, weeks, and months before the game was announced. And remember, the game was announced in 2017. So this was a 6-year buildup. It had been a while. People were anticipating it. I kept the expectations in check. I was excited about it, as I talked about at the beginning of the episode. I was excited because it is a new space IP. It's not based on Star Wars or Star Trek. It is a brand new thing that we knew nothing about. And we know that Bethesda's good with stories. They can make entertaining, exciting characters. The design is weird, but whatever. We can do all these things, and Bethesda delivers, and Bethesda knows how to make a good game. Cool. So you've got the expectation from the studio. You've got the excitement and wonder and mystery of a title that we have never seen before, with intellectual property we've never seen before, concepts we've never seen before. And we were kind of hoping that there would be some new tech involved. Was there? Technically, yes. Was there? Not really. Like in principle, it's another game. It was utilizing similar engines to what's been used before. Bethesda did make some upgrades, but they were evolutions, not revolutions. So whatever. Shade says, spoiler, whatever. Shade, I broadcasted this. I'm reading chat now. I'm not overly impressed. For how long they put into the development of the game, it is very underwhelming. I can't justify the 120 Australian dollars. Yeah. Okay, we're going to get into this in a minute. So I immediately jumped into it. Visually, I think it's a beautiful game. The parts that I've seen so far, I've got 5 hours of gameplay into this. 6 hours of gameplay into this. We've been in space in a ship. We have been in underground facilities. We've been above ground cities. We've seen multiple different types of main characters, as well as NPCs. I'm trying to run down the list here. We've seen shipbuilding. We've seen character building, which I'm going to show you guys a little bit of. I've been introduced to a lot of the facets of the game. Visually, I like it. Visually, I think it was done well. The animations are fairly done well. Still has kind of that Bethesda weird eye thing, but not terribly. I think they've gotten better at it. Is this Fallout? No. Is this Skyrim? No. Is this Starfield? Yes. I think it does stand on its own, which is interesting because the developer said, I think it was a couple of months ago, the developer even said it's Skyrim in space. I don't see that. I see that obviously it's got the same Bethesda themes. I think that Bethesda made a game that they're good at making. But I think it's going to stand on its own in its own place in the Bethesda library. You know, it's not going to be like what Ubisoft is doing with Skull and Bones, where it's like Assassin's Creed on the water. That is what that's going to be. That is exactly what that's going to be. This is its own thing. Okay, fine. But once the reviews started coming out, because the embargo on media reviews and bloggers and all of that, that was lifted at 9 a.m. Pacific on August 31st. The game didn't go live until 5 p.m. Pacific, August 31st. So there was that 8-hour gap of reviews, but no gameplay for the average public. You know, we saw people with the early access copies, the media copies. Sorry, the media copies were playing it live. They were on Twitch because like, I've already got it, woohoo, and they were playing. But basically, it was kind of like it was that review gap where all we had was reviews for 8 hours, and then we all got to dive in. There was a review that came out, and I don't think it was drastically different. But I think that what we're seeing now is it's kind of stayed. I was expecting either a big spike of high scores in the beginning or a really low kind of like review bombing. We didn't get either one. I think that the reviews we got were fairly well thought out. I think that they were mostly accurate in terms of giving people a sense of the game itself. You know, this is what I experienced in my 20, 30, 50, 90 hours of Starfield gameplay. And I think that was fair, and I was kind of glad to see it. Right now, and I think all of you will agree with me, what we're seeing is basically a 7.5 out of 10. There are some struggle points to this game. I was watching, in fact, before tonight's show, I was watching a streamer. I've watched a lot of my friends play in addition to me playing last night. But I was watching a streamer who is very active in Star Citizen, big Star Citizen player. And I want to be very, very clear. Star Citizen and Starfield are not competing games. If you think that they're competing or you're trying to compare one to the other, don't. It makes no sense. It is a literal apples and oranges comparison. They're not intended to be the same thing. They're not trying to be the same thing. They didn't set out to be the same thing. They're not made to be by the same companies. Stop it. It doesn't make any sense. There's this whole animosity between these two communities. Everybody's like diehard Bethesda fans or diehard Star Citizen fans. They're like, no, we hate you and you hate us and we hate you and we hate you. Fucking knock it off. You look ridiculous. The games are not the same. Okay. I've played both now. I can tell you that. But I saw this interesting review and it came out on IGN. The headline was Starfield review. Subhead, all right, everybody, strap yourselves in. This is going to be a bumpy ride. I'm going to change the views for a second here because I want to show you some of the gameplay that we had. One of the things that I was looking forward to the most when Starfield came out was the character creation. There was a lot of hype about how complex it was to build your characters, all the amazing detail that goes into it. Specifically, physically, you get to customize basically everything about your character's head. And then you also get to modify the body a little bit. So I'm going to play this in the background here. As soon as I remember how. Where the hell did it go? Oh, there it is.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So on screen right now, this is the actual footage of last night's gameplay that I had.
Go.
This was where, if you're not familiar with the PJParty community and what I allow my community to do, I allow my community when we have the ability to customize characters or name ships or any of that kind of stuff. I let chat do it.
Oh,
if you're in my community and you are part of this wonderful group of people that always hang out, then I let you build the characters. It was a clusterfuck of fun. We had such a good time doing this last night. I loved it. It was a great time.
This is exactly.
We built.
It's character creation time. Shut up.
I'll just say we built Nicole. Okay,
it's
Nicole. That is her name, and you will be seeing her online. Nicole is
a different kind of bowl, Hayden.
But anyways, so while this is playing in the background, this is going to give you an idea of the level of character customization we can do. You pick genders, you pick cheekbones, you pick hairlines, you pick colors.
Thank you, Mazda. Mazda's defending my brand.
It was cool.
Appreciate it.
But anyways, I want to read you this review,
PJParty
from IGN.
Conditioner and shampoo.
And the intro paragraph, I think, is
90% of true gameplay. True.
It says, "I feel like I'm the kind of person Starfield was made for. I loved Bethesda's last single-player RPG, Fallout 4, maybe a bit too much. And there's nothing I like more than a sci-fi universe with spaceships, lasers, and political intrigue flying every which way. And yet, a dozen hours into Starfield, I was feeling lost in space.
I'm giving a choice based on the game.
Things never went too far off course while I was flying my rinky-dink little ship around, chasing down mysterious artifacts and war criminals with a damn fine crew of companions at my side.
And accuracy
but
with gender
man,
identification.
did Starfield make me work hard to get through that opening stretch.
Right now I'm playing a game.
Even when it mostly righted the ship and I was loving the story, side quests, and launching boarding parties on my enemy ships, there were still too many problems that constantly popped up, forcing me to curb my excitement.
Different career choice.
It's a bit like Starfield's own elaborate shipbuilder tool. Even though you can slap a bunch of high-end parts together and it will technically fly,
a good time here.
Sometimes
nobody's taking anything too seriously because we're playing a space game in 2330, and we
I
get to design our
enjoyed.
human. So
let's skip ahead a little bit. So this is what we're seeing on screen now is part of the character customization of the body, where you can define.
Nope, it was faulty.
How muscular they are, how thin they are, how heavy they are.
No, it was bomb.
Body types,
okay,
walking
so it was
style,
blood,
skin tones.
Mazda, Chappie, and
bomb.
Really, so
it's very cool. I like the way they.
My number was 4, so we are going.
I've played the game.
White.
One of the things that frustrates me about the game is that everything is a teleportation.
Now,
if you go, like you could be literally in an underground bunker, and if you're done with that mission, you can go into your menu, click a couple buttons, and you teleport right back to your ship.
Muscular.
You don't get to walk back to it. I mean, you could if you felt like it, but you can teleport there. You teleport from planet to planet. You don't fly.
And there's our space trucker.
You're really not flying. You're teleporting everywhere. The loading screens are insane.
You should feel cheated, Faulty.
Because you teleport everywhere. You can teleport from building to
Mother
building.
Nocturna would be proud. Why? Because we picked the
goth. You can teleport from building to planet to ship to.
Okay, so
it's constant loading
numbers. There we go. Okay,
it's okay. We're gonna load you into that. Oh, okay. Now you're gonna go somewhere else. We're gonna load you into that.
The problem is, like,
you're gonna load you into that.
All over the place. Like, we can go way out here. We can go way out here. Like, we can go like super like calisthenics model.
I know how to mute things. I can mute. I didn't realize there was audio. It's supposed to be muted. Let's just kill it. Okay, we're back now. Haha. All life is better now. The audio is going to be fine. So anyways, we go into this person's experience and they talk about how it was frustrating. They talk about how things weren't right. And it was a constant thing not being right. Like I said, even when it mostly righted the ship and I was loving the story, side quests, and launching boarding parties on my enemy ships, there were still too many problems that constantly popped up, forcing me to curb my excitement. It's a bit like Starfield's own elaborate shipbuilder tool. Even though you can slap a bunch of high-end parts together and it will technically fly, sometimes it's just not the best fit. I think that they've come up with some cool stories. And if you're in chat and you want to share your opinion about Starfield, please do so. The stories are great. I think the characters are interesting. I think the customization is interesting. But the gameplay itself can be stalled. And I was trying to describe it because I was going to write a review for it. And one of the things that I saw was that I was struggling with how to describe, for example, the ground combat. I liked the ship combat. I thought the ship combat was cool. All your weapons are gimbaled. Visuals are okay. It's a little arcade-ish, but I don't think in a bad way. All of that aside, I think that what we've got is when you got it to ground combat, I didn't feel like I was actually in combat. I felt like it was, and the word I used was disconnected. I felt like it was disconnected from the action itself. If I died, I didn't feel like I really died. If I killed somebody, I didn't feel like I really killed somebody. There was something about, and I still haven't put my hands. I mean, maybe it's the audio, maybe it's the animations, but there's something about it that seemed to be disconnected. That aside, I still think the game itself is well done. I think that the game has a lot of places it can go. I think Bethesda can do DLCs for it. I think they're going to do patches for it. I think that there can be expansion upon this. And of course, the modding community for Bethesda games is going to be massive. This is going to be made into a multiplayer by the modding community. This is going to be, aliens are going to be added and dinosaurs are going to be added and all kinds of crazy shit. And I think that that's going to be fun. So we'll probably get into that with some streaming content. But I think that all of the reviews, you talk about things, like I said, right now, what I'm seeing is a lot of 7s and 8s. A lot of people are like, it's a 7. It like does cool on some things, misses the mark on a lot of other things. Comment in chat, combat has never been a Bethesda strong point. Fair. The mods are already hard at work on making a dual screen mod and xenomorphs, of course. Because what do they have? Terramorphs? I never saw one. It got mentioned in the audio, but I never saw one in the game yet. It was, I guess I missed part of that mission. Like I sidestepped it. But there's Terramorphs. I haven't seen one yet. I don't know what it is. So, that kind of stuff. But yeah, to these points, and my friend, Mr. Jinxie, who you've also seen here as a co-host of the show a couple of times already. Jinxie sent me the link Stavo has posted the link, of the new patch where you get, the mod where you get DLSS compatibility instead of AMD's version. And then you also get reshade. So you can improve for all of us, like the 75% of us that are using NVIDIA gaming graphics cards. You're getting, the native encoding, which is nice. So the mod community is going to be a huge help, as it usually is with Bethesda games. And I think that's where they're missing the mark, is that if you made the game correctly, the way the people wanted it, nobody would have to mod it for anything other than ridiculousness. Like in Red Dead Redemption 2, you can put in giant ostriches and weird, UFOs and shit. They took it from other titles. I wish they didn't have to do that. I wish Bethesda made a game that wasn't so needed to be modded, something like that. I think this game would be really fun being co-op. Totally agree with you on that point. It is not going to be, which again is part of why I keep saying it is not a Star Citizen competitor. It is not intended to be multiplayer. It is intended to be a single player game. What the mod community will do with it is they're going to make it a multiplayer. They'll make it co-op. They'll make it combat. They'll do 100 improvements. But again, what I'm seeing online is a lot of 7s, some 8s. I think we're looking at a title that's about a 7.5 out of 10. And I think that's disappointing on the sense that as people are talking about in chat already, we've got 6 years of development, basically. Let's not count COVID because that shut down studios and that slowed everything down. So let's say 4 years of solid development, 5 if you want to be generous with COVID, hundreds of millions of dollars, a title that was hyped because it was brand new, but it doesn't get to that level. It's not Baldur's Gate 3. Okay? I still think we've got 4 months left in this year. We've got 4 months left, and I still think no matter what happens at the end of this year, Baldur's Gate 3 will be the game of the year. It's sad that Bethesda couldn't deliver that, even close to that. Right now, I think the average, like Metacritic, what did Metacritic give Baldur's Gate 3? Like a 98? Somebody gave it like a 98 score out of 100. And right now you've got Bethesda with Starfield, one of the most anticipated games of the year, coming in at like a 7. It's a 70 out of 100. All right. Now, I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun with the game. I like the idea of exploring something that's brand new that nobody has played yet. We're all having a first-time experience with that, and that's an enjoyable thing. I like that we've got new stories. I've liked that we've got new characters. I like that we've got new graphics. All of this stuff is good. Just because it didn't become a 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10, just because it wasn't that doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it wasn't what we hoped it would be, but it's still a good game. It's still a good title, and there's a lot of fun to be had with it. So I hope you all will do that. If this is your kind of game, if this is something that you've ordered or pre-ordered, then, fantastic. Have a good time with it. Don't let somebody else's opinion dictate your level of enjoyment. And I'm seeing a lot of that. I'm seeing a lot of people saying, well, I'm going to read the reviews and then I'll decide. Now that's fair because it's a $70 title. If you're not getting the premium edition, which is $100, the basic regular version is a $70 title. So it is fair if you're going to let it decide, do you spend $70? But don't let the reviews determine how much fun you have. Have a good time. That's what we're all here for. We're here to have this fun. We're here to enjoy these new opportunities. So let's do that. Let's at least do that part and just let the reviews stand as they are. But again, I think it's interesting that the community has been fairly cohesive on this. We're not seeing a bunch of big outliers, like, oh, I'm giving it a 3 out of 10. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. Like, nobody's really hitting those extremes. Everybody's kind of like, yeah, it's an all right game. Cool. Wasn't what we hoped it was, but it's still a good thing. And I think that's great. Bethesda has been struggling to even punch close to Fallout New Vegas. For those who don't know, I play Fallout New Vegas for my Twitch subscribers. It was also for my Discord members, but that's a separate thing in 2 weeks. But yeah, Fallout New Vegas was fun. And so many people told me before I started playing, because I'd never played a Fallout title before, everybody was like, dude, New Vegas is awesome. Have a good time with New Vegas. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And it is. But yes, the Fallout series, Bethesda has had some hits and misses. Obviously Skyrim, anyway, Bethesda's got its history and all that's great. And the best part is Fallout New Vegas wasn't even developed by Bethesda. Well, I mean, you're not wrong. Okay, fair point. But still, it's a Fallout title. It's a so everything gets lumped together. It's a Fallout title. But so anyway, so that was part of this review, and I think this review was fair in its assessment. I think it gave some good criticisms, but like I said, one of the things I've liked about seeing these things is that they're basically all hitting on the same points. They're all fair criticisms, and they're all kind of landing at the same score. It's all like that 7 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10, and I'm right there with it. There are parts I like, there are parts I don't like, but I'm enjoying the hell out of it. And again, I hope you guys are too. I always hope you are too, because if we've got these opportunities to play games together, let's utilize it to have some fun. And that's what we're doing as a community. So before we go tonight, I do want to make a couple of mentions. First of all, again, I want to thank our new Diamond subscribers in the Discord, Captain Havoc and Zombie XP. Thank you very much for your support, guys. We appreciate you as Diamond supporters. in the Discord. I also want to give note, at the end of last night's stream, I gave away a copy of Starfield. Jormund Recker in our community was the winner. I was able to connect with him. He now has his copy of Starfield, and he will be able to play on September 6th. So thank you to everybody who tuned in last night. We had a very, very fun stream. Lots of you were there, and I was really concerned. Honestly, I'll be frank with you guys. As a small content creator, I'm not like a Twitch partner or anything. I'm not, sponsored by a gaming studio yet. I was really concerned. I was like, Jesus Christ, everybody's going to be playing this game. Why would anybody tune into my channel? You guys tuned in. We had a ton of fun doing it. You got to build a character, which, by the way, no other streamer has let you do. Just saying. I've been watching a shit ton of them. I've watched people all across Twitch, and I'm like, what are you doing for character creation? Oh, you're doing it? Your chat. My chat gets to do it. So I love having that moment with you guys. But anyways, so I really appreciate that. And like I said, at the end of the night, I had a ton of fun with you, and I got to give away a copy of Starfield. So congratulations to Jormund Recker for winning that. That is closed now. We got contacted by the winner, so we're good to go there. And then don't forget, next week there's going to be some changes coming into the content. Starfield is going to be worked in as a long-term part of the content for the channel, so you're going to be seeing that. I also want to remind everybody that's here now, and if you are listening later, if you are a current Twitch subscriber to the PJParty community, first of all, thank you very much. I've always appreciated the support, whether it's your sub or a gifted sub. I thank you for being there, and I thank you for what you do. Effective September 15th, the benefits are changing. We are separating Twitch and Discord. Twitch subs will get Twitch benefits. Discord subs will get Discord benefits. The only exception to that, if you become a Diamond Discord sub, the Diamond level gets a gifted Tier 1 Twitch sub from me. That's my way of giving back and saying thanks to you. I appreciate that high level of support. And don't forget, every single Discord sub level is cheaper than the Twitch level. So Tier 1 on Discord is cheaper than Tier 1 on Twitch. Tier 2 on Discord, cheaper than Tier 2 on Twitch. Tier 3 on Discord, cheaper than Tier 3 on Twitch. I'm also trying to give you more benefits because unlike with the stuff on Twitch that is controlled by Twitch, I control all your benefits on Discord. I control what you get, and I can give you whatever the hell I want, and it's a lot more than Twitch will give you. So I'm working on making that even more valuable for you guys. So please, effective September 15th, don't forget, your Twitch benefits, if you're still a sub on Twitch, it's only going to be on Twitch. There's nothing that carries over into the Discord. So if you would love to be a Discord sub, make sure you drop the Twitch renewal and you go pick up one at any tier level. It doesn't matter. Any tier level on Discord. There's a lot of different benefits between them, so check them out if you're interested. All right. That is it for our show tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you all for tuning in. I have loved hanging out with you guys. Don't forget, we are doing this every Friday night, always at 7:30 on YouTube live. Then it gets saved as a VOD for you to check out whenever you'd like, and it's saved in the podcast playlist. And then it gets uploaded on Monday mornings at 4 a.m. Pacific time to all of the major podcasting sites, including Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, and all the others that you may want to find. So definitely check it out. Thank you very much for the support. Please sub to the YouTube channel if you can. Drop the subs on, or the follows, I apologize, on Spotify as well. And go enjoy the rest of your weekend. But for now, have yourself a good morning, a good day, a good night, whatever it is for you. And I will see you next time. See ya!